I am loving this season. We have been doing everything. Yesterday we went all day long to the pumpkin patch with friends. In the morning I made some double chocolate sourdough rolls, and I made 2 huge bouquets from the last of the flowers before it frosts, which is going to happen very, very soon. So on this video, I'm going to take you through a few days of fall homemaking, cooking, cleaning, decorating. I'm also going to be going through and showing you all of my kids' clothes and how I've collected them and pared them down. This has been a job I've been working on over the last week or so, pretty steadily. And so I'm gonna explain that process to you. So join me here in my farmhouse for some cozy fall homemaking. Okay, so I'm in one of my boys' rooms, and the last couple weeks have been devoted, as far as home stuff, to getting everybody ready for the upcoming season. Everything from making sure that we have the right coveralls for the cold, the right boots, so that way they have, you know, waterproof and insulated, the long sleeve shirts, long pants, jackets, hoodies. I'm gonna show you what all we got. So I try to keep things really minimal. We don't have a ton of storage space here in our farmhouse. We actually don't have any, well, we have one closet below the stairs. It's kind of a utility type of closet, not super easy to get into. And so we don't keep anything really in there. We keep stuff, but no clothes. And so in the rooms here, we basically have armoires and dressers. This is two boys' room here, and I'm gonna show you what I have here in the dresser shortly. So the way that I do this, and I know that some people, or at least in my last house, we had closets in every room, and so this wasn't something that I really did. Now, I went through their closets occasionally and got rid of all of the stuff that would no longer fit them, or put it in the basement, or pass it on to somebody. But in this house, the whole swap out is a much more serious thing that I do twice a year, usually in May and October. And we pretty much get rid of anything that would be for cold weather in May, anything that would be for warm weather in October. And the way that our seasons work here in Missouri, that's actually pretty good. Like, there's not really any reason why you would need shorts all the way from October through May, and there's really no reason that you would need a hoodie from May through October. I do usually keep like one or two things from the other season, just in case there's like an unseasonably warm day, or for whatever reason you'd want it. For the most part though, we swap them completely. I am not one to buy a lot of clothes and then store them. My approach is more along the lines of getting so few items that by the time the next season rolls around, almost everything is destroyed. This just works for me because I have a really hard time keeping track of stuff. Our basement is not the friendliest place. It's not terrible, but it is a little bit moist, and it's old, it's not finished. And so it's not the kind of place where I want to keep stacks and stacks of bins. Now, we do have bins down there, but not a whole lot. So I actually have one massive bin that I label extra kids clothes, and that is where I keep all 5 boys' hand-me-downs that still are good. Now, the girls have their own bins. They're at that age now where I don't actually do anything with their clothes. So I'm not gonna show you theirs because I haven't had any involvement with that. It's just, I tell them, hey, it's time to swap out to your winter clothes. Tell me what you need and I'll go collect you whatever items are missing in your wardrobe. But that's 100% up to them. Whereas the 5 boys are all 9 and under. And so I'm fully in charge of that. And so this is just boy. Whenever I say I have an extra kid clothes bin, it's all boy stuff. And usually the stuff that makes it into that bin that I find myself pulling back out are nice items like overalls that are really sturdy, that they haven't worn the knees out yet, or button-down shirts that they end up not wearing that much, or hoodies. Anything that is like a t-shirt material almost never makes it to the next season. Either it's stained up or it has a hole. They just don't make it through a whole lot. And as you'll see, I keep so few clothes that they wear them heavily. Nothing is just sitting in this drawer untouched for most of the season. Now, if it is, at the end of the season, I'll get rid of it, because if we didn't wear it, there was a reason for it. And another one of my goals is to make sure that the boys don't have access to things that I don't like. They get themselves dressed, and if they can pull out something ugly, something that's has a hole in it or stained, they're going to. So I try to keep only things that are really nice. If it has a hole, I'll either patch it or I will get rid of it. And a lot of times it's just getting rid of it because I don't, oftentimes, like, I'll save something to do that with and I end up not doing it. I also try to make it to where we don't have a whole lot of like play clothes versus church clothes. In my perfect world, they would all work for both, just because, like I said, that streamlines the getting ready process for whatever we're doing. They don't necessarily know like if this is an appropriate time for them to wear this or this. And if I want them to get dressed, I almost need them to just be able to look like nice-ish. Now, that's not to say that we don't have a couple of like button-down shirts. Sometimes we put those on them, but for the most part, I want all of the clothes to look sort of nice. Now, this year I do have for one of my sons. He really prefers athletic pants, and normally I do not like that. I want them to just look like either they could go out and about or they're home, but I think that is what he's gonna be wearing most of the time, except for probably jeans to church. All right, let's actually go into the drawers. One thing that I changed this year for my strategy is I went to thrift shops and Goodwill, and normally the reason that I don't do that, and I've been talking about this for years on this channel, is I treat this very much like a job to get done, and I do it so minimally that I figure I'm really not wasting money if I just go buy everything new, because I buy like a few things per kid. But I ended up going with my sister because we've been taking our kids on a certain night of the week together about an hour away, and so we have this time where our kids are in Awanas and we can go out and about together. And so we, you know, go to some thrift shops, and I realized that that strategy actually needed some revisiting. The reason for that is I'm finding at these places brands that I'm not a shopper, so I don't end up at places like nice places like Gap, or I don't even know what they are because I don't go to malls. I don't end up there. And so I end up buying like cheaper clothes just because I find myself at Target and Walmart. So I get cheaper clothes just to get the job done. But I realized that when we were at some of these thrift shops that I was finding some really nicer brands than I otherwise have access to, and obviously for lesser prices. And so I'm like, you know what? They have so much stuff and in such good condition. I don't think I realized that. I don't think I realized that you could actually get the job done really quickly at some of those places. I kind of just thought, oh, you have to dig, and you know, I don't have time for this. I just need to get done. It's a job to check off my list. And this year I found so much good stuff. I found boots, which I'll go show you. I found some sweaters and brands I wouldn't otherwise normally buy. And so I'm really pleased with that decision. This here is two kids, all their clothes. This is one child. Basically my goal is just to have, this is the one that likes the athletic pants, so I guess we're doing this year. He's got a little stack of pants, a nice pair for nice occasions, one pair of jeans. These were from a wedding, but they're pretty casual anyways. A couple of long sleeves, again, not that many, but just some very nice looking long sleeves, and then some over stuff like hoodies and jackets. Now keep in mind, some of my favorite items the boys are wearing right now because, you know, they're dressed. So this is what he has, of course, except for one more outfit that he's currently wearing. This is one of the things that I found yesterday at a thrift shop for, I don't know, maybe $4. But anytime I see sweaters like this, you'll see we have a lot. I get them because they wear them out, but they're so pretty. And when you get them at a thrift shop, you don't have to worry about reserving them for nice occasions. I let them wear these daily because, you know, they're $4 at a thrift shop. And so you can just let them wear them out. And so like this one, no, not this one, this one, he wore last year a ton. It's starting to look pretty pilly, but I just pick them up. If I see these kind of sweaters, I get them because I love the way boys look in these oversized sweaters, and they're very cozy. And then he has a couple of pants. I think I need to find him maybe like one or two more pairs of jeans. Ooh, this is one of the things I found at the thrift shop the other day that I was like, see, I don't come across stuff like this where I shop. So it's a little polo Ralph Lauren. I don't know where you buy this stuff, but it's just very nice looking. And I don't think you see this at Target. It was $3 or $4. Again, I am just such a fan of these sweaters. So this is kind of his uniform, like sweater, and we always have a bunch of these button-down flannels to go underneath stuff like this. And then the oldest boy, he's the one that I usually have to buy the most for, because obviously a lot of those clothes that you saw in there came from him originally, and so they get passed down. One thing I found yesterday, which I see is on his floor here, is another polo Ralph Lauren sweater. This again, it was actually a different thrift shop. So I guess, I don't know, are these just really common? I don't go to thrift shops much, to be completely honest with you. I go to antique shops, but I had it in my head that I would have to search high and low and I wouldn't get the job done, and I just, you know, I feel like this, with 7 kids, the job of collecting all of the clothes so that they look decent and have pants in the winter and shorts in the summer is actually a really big job. And so I'm like, I'm streamlining this. I have too many children. Back whenever I had 1 or 2 kids, I always went to the thrift shop. I got all their clothes at the thrift shop. But as the job has grown and I've felt more overwhelmed by it, that's when I'm like, okay, we're not doing it that way anymore. But I think I'm changing my strategy. For him, because I was mostly collecting stuff from scratch, like he had almost no clothes, I did sort of a color theme. I got him, actually I think this came from the clothes bin because it's really thick and nice, so it lasted. But I got him a lot of like blue and gray and white. A couple of these sweaters again. A couple of, what is this? Just like a hoodie. Some long sleeves. A flannel. And then that's pretty much it for his tops. And then 1 pair of jeans. And then overalls. This particular child only wears overalls, and I've bought him lots of pairs of them, and I actually have a few more coming because it's just his thing. He only wears overalls. And so I do have a pair of jeans in there just in case, but he will not wear them. Maybe he'll wear them once this entire season if I need it for like a photo or something, like a family photo, I don't know. Even though I'll probably just let him wear his overalls. So I need to get him a few more pairs of overalls because that is the extent of what he has. But other than that, he is such a uniform type of kid. He finds one thing he likes and he just wears it over and over again. And so I really don't think he needs any more than what I just showed you there. Now, of course, right now, he's wearing a pair of overalls and a sweatshirt. All right, next I want to show you what we did in the mudroom, because that's a whole thing on its own. That's where we have all the outer gear and the boots, and it can turn into quite a thing if I don't minimize and be very strategic with it. Okay, apparently I forgot about my son Daniel until I was about to go down the stairs. So there's one more son, obviously. Well, and Theo. Okay, so I really only showed you 3 boys so far, but I'll show you my son Daniel here. Now he ends up with probably the most clothes because he is 3, and so, or almost 3, and so all of the older 3 kids' clothes passes down to him. Any of the quality things, these are just jammies. I don't really know how we've accumulated this many jammies, but this is his jammy drawer, which is fine. And then he probably has the most jeans and long sleeves and flannels, because flannels like this, they do last. They don't really get holes in them because they're so thick, and sweatshirts, and so he does end up with quite a few, but it's all nice stuff. And he has the most space. So this whole dresser can be his because this is his own room. But that's pretty much it. The bottom drawer only has bedding in it. And so that's the extent of his clothing. As a 3-year-old, of course, he's the most prone to having like issues throughout the day that require changing. And so I do like that he has a little bit more, but he's done. I don't need to collect anything more for him. He is ready for the season. All right, this mudroom probably could have used a bit of tidying before I came in here, but I'm just gonna show you what we have going on in here. First find, as far as boots goes, this is the same thrift shop that I went with my blogger friends when they came back in June, and everybody said, where is that? I loved that place. So same one. I picked these up last night. $6.99 a pair for 2 of my boys. They're insulated, they're rubber on the bottom, which is what I like, because anything that's not real leather and not rubber scuffs, and it quickly looks very bad. Like it looks just scrubby, and so that's not what I wanted. So this is why I like these fabric and rubber type of boots. I guess, I'm assuming since they were next to each other at the store, that they were sent, or they were consigned by brothers. So I picked them up for my brothers here. Those are for my 4th and 5th kids. I picked these up at a thrift shop a few weeks ago. They are Columbia brand. So again, like nicer stuff than you can just grab at Target, but yet, I don't know. I think it was $12, which is a little bit more, but good grief, you cannot complain about that. My second daughter, she wears all of these boots, and she has accumulated them over time. People have handed them down to her. So these are like her section, which is more than I'd prefer for her to have, but they're all nice. I just brought them up from the basement yesterday. So, I mean, we're just gonna keep them until we can pass them down to somebody else. And then my other daughter and I, we share. Now these I brought up from the basement yesterday, and they actually, I had to clean them. They looked really bad. So they're still wet, but they're drying. I did my fall capsule wardrobe a week or two ago here on this channel. And I had a few more pairs of boots down in the basement that I completely forgot about, which is why, again, I don't keep that much stuff because I forget. So I had these black boots from last year that were still totally good. So my daughter and I wear those. My mother-in-law just gave me these. I think she was just done with them, and so she gave these to me, so I have these gray ones. I found these in the basement, and I already had these up here, so 2 pairs of mules. So this whole, and I don't remember even when we got these. I think these are my, oh yeah, these are size 6s, so I can't wear those, but my daughter can. And then we have a few more like random farm boots in this area. So those are the winter shoe collection. They look really nice right now, and they won't because we have to constantly reorganize this. And then I have just a bin of random tennis shoes and stuff. I will be bringing these down to the basement shortly, but they are still working right now for my youngest or second to youngest son. So we'll keep those for a little bit. With this mudroom, I would like to figure out a system that doesn't constantly go back into disarray. But at the moment, we just haven't. I think it might be one of those moments where it's something that you want there to be like an easy 1, 2, 3 step system, but in reality, you just have to like once every other day, put everything back and organize it. Because as you can see here, this is all the shoes. They can be, but that's not what we end up doing. They're usually all over the floor. And I always think, okay, I'm just gonna have 1 pair of shoe per kid. But then, you know, you end up with like my daughter's hand-me-downs. Those are all cute boots. They all fit her. So we keep them all. And then that makes it to where there can be 4 pairs of boots scattered out throughout the mudroom. So I haven't figured out a perfect solution for that yet, except for, okay, they do fit. Now, if they didn't fit, I would start eliminating a few. And then also, as far as having 1 pair of shoes per kid, which was my original thought before this season, I was brainstorming what type of shoes could work for everything. So they would work for church, they'd work for going out and doing the chores, they'd work for running to town. And I came to the conclusion that there just isn't, because when it's a really cold day, you want insulated farm type of boots, but then, you know, you also want tennis shoes, and sometimes you want more stylish boots. And so this is just what's gonna happen. And it's nice knowing that they do fit if you want the mudroom to look nice. Okay, here's Theo's basket. I'm always a basket under the bed for the baby type of person. This is literally all his clothes except for, of course, what he is currently wearing. I went through this recently and made sure that everything was in good condition and fit him. These were a pair of overalls that Daniel wore. They actually lasted. With babies, they grow out of stuff so quickly that I do find that they can pass stuff down a little bit better. My mom picked this up for me. This jacket, you know, just another jacket. I actually splurged and bought this brand new. Thought it was so cute. I just love little outfits like this. Bought that when we were in New York City. I also got these sleepers recently brand new on Amazon. I have a, what's the other color? Oh, a green. It's actually my favorite one. It's not in here. Must be in the laundry. So there's a green one, a black one, and a tan one. They're just very basic, organic sleepers. So I bought those new because sleepers, they get holes, they get stains. You have to get them new every once in a while. I still have these Solly baby outfits that I got at the beginning of summer. He wore these all summer because they're so lightweight that they just protect from the sun but yet aren't hot. At this point, they have holes, most of them, but I like them for layering. So whenever it's like right now, we haven't started the wood stove yet, we haven't started the furnace, so we're waking up and it's like 62 degrees in the house. And so I put him to bed with like this underneath something else. A couple of just cute little shirt and pants, a couple sleepers that are really fleecy and warm. He's also wearing one right now. and that's the extent of it. I do believe there's a couple things in the laundry, but not much because it does all fit in this basket. And what I like about that is I just throw it in there. Whenever I do his laundry, I don't fold it. I just throw it in here and put it back under the bed. It's just a really easy way to dress him, and everything sort of, for the most part, mixes and matches, and it makes it to where that's not something I have to think much about. We have a few extra kids over today, so I'm gonna make my go-to for a situation like that, pizza, because I can make several of them. Everybody likes it. I'm gonna do a couple with just red sauce, mozzarella, and maybe sausage or some salami. And then I'm gonna do a few with butternut squash, goat cheese, and sage, only because earlier I was at a soccer game with my mom and my sister and our kids, or my kids, their grandkids and nieces and nephews. Anyways, and my sister said she wanted to come over and get some herbs out of my garden. And I told her I have a lot of basil and a lot of sage, and she said, okay, I'm gonna make pizza with the basil. What about the sage? I said, you should make, and I just thought of something randomly, a sausage, goat cheese, butternut squash pizza. And then as I said it, I was like, okay, I have to have that for lunch. So I'll make a few of those for us. I'm going to end this homemaking vlog by feeding my sourdough starter. I wanted to show you just how much I reduce it down sometimes before feeding it in order to revive it. This actually really helps a mature sourdough starter because it gets fresh sustenance. And also you'll notice that I do have the labels all wrong. It's not sugar, it's sourdough starter. I switched things around without changing them. I hope that you enjoyed joining me on this homemaking vlog. As always, thank you so much for watching. If you are brand new to my channel, please hit that subscribe button. I make new videos every week on food from scratch, natural living, and a handmade home. Thank you so much for stopping by our farmhouse.